Right, shortly after finishing the recording of my last video, this one here, the Abu Dhabi fraud, which teams agreed to the racing finish? I realised I'd missed part of that video out because I did say at the start that I'm going to show you what a pit stop would take under normal racing conditions compared to what it would take under a safety car. So I'm going to go through that with you now. It's just when we are explained things by the sport of Formula One, they don't really educate us. Okay, they tell you, oh, you lose 20 seconds by pitting at this circuit. You lose on average 23 seconds by pitting at this circuit. Now, I'm going to try and give you as good a explanation about this as I can, in the hope that it's going to enhance your understanding. So what we need to look at is, if we look at this is the Abu Dhabi timing screens here, and I'm going to give you this example, lap 5 of 58. What you've got to bear in mind is, if you're a Formula One strategist, there's multiple factors that you've got to consider, and we don't have all of those all of the information at our disposal as just the layman watching in from the outside. So we don't know relative tyre wear, relative tyre lifespan. That's just second-hand information that we're told is likely, but we don't truly know. We don't know the actual fuel load of those cars, how it's really going to decrease. You know, the curve that it will decrease at. Because if you're carrying a heavier load, you use more fuel. You know, so it's not a simple case of a linear relationship. But lap times they're not linear either. You start the race on a full fuel load. You carry in, say, 100 kg of fuel, and by the end of the race, you've got to have, say, 1.5 kg of fuel left. So you're going to lose 98.5 kilograms. That's a significant amount. If you think of your car and you've got, a chubby lad in the passenger seat, then your car's going to handle a bit different to when you're driving on your own. Okay, and that's in a car that weighs over a ton. If you've got a Formula One car that weighs less than a ton, you're going to feel that weight difference differently. So the lap times near the start of the race, last lap 128.7. okay, so that is after lap 5. If you take this forward, and what are we now? We're now on lap, let's go a bit further forward than that, lap 45. They're doing the 126s there. All right, so you're talking say 3 seconds a lap quicker. And if that's the case, then the amount of time taken on track to cover that bit of track in between pit entrance and pit exit, well, that time is going to be different, isn't it? It's going to be slightly quicker, you'd say, if the overall lap time is quicker. So therefore, these figures are going to be ballpark figures, but it's going to give you an indication. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go through, go back to about lap 12, Max Verstappen's pit stop, and show you the margins on this as to how to calculate kind of pit stop times and what's going on there. They've pitted there. What am I looking at now? Lap 15 of 58 with Verstappen. Let me just go back a bit further. There we go. Tiny bit more. Tiny bit more. That was Verstappen in the pits. So, right, we'll go to track of view. I think this is the point where Verstappen pits. So let's keep the Ferrari shut. You can see the way that blue dot just jinked. It means that he pitted. So let's just go back 10 seconds. Verstappen has come round turn 14. We know he's going to pit. All right. Now, firstly, we're going to look at it from Hamilton's perspective. Hamilton here is at turn 16, pit entrance, 29.20. Okay. In the other video, in the previous video I've just done, the time taken on track to get from pit entrance to pit exit when driving to safety car delta, because the safety car was deployed then, and therefore each of the cars has to slow down to drive at the delta speed. That time was about 19 to 20 seconds to get from pit entrance to pit exit when remaining on track. So let's see at racing speed early on in the race, and as I say, this time will get quicker as the race goes on and fuel load decreases and enabling quicker lap times, although that can be offset sometimes by a deteriorating tyre. So there's all these various things that all factor in. So like I say, we don't have all the information to be able to make this super accurate, but it gives you an idea. 29:20. Let's see what the clock stops at when we get to pit exit, which is close to where Mick Schumacher is now, turn 3. Just slightly before that, ever so slightly before that. So let's play this through, firstly, for Hamilton. Oops.
18th at the moment. We keep losing gears. This might continue to happen. Oh, that's not what you want to hear when you're trying to keep the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc at bay as they make a move into the pit lane. Down at Red Bull is Max Verstappen coming in. Yes, he is.
Okay, so that is there. So that is 29:37. Okay, 29:37. So that's just 17 seconds, is it not? Let's just rewind that. Let's play it again.
11 at the moment. And I wonder if George Russell's struggling.
There is pit entrance. Okay, so 29:20. We'll play it forward again.
2 down 18th at the moment. We keep losing gears. This might continue to happen. Oh, that's not what you want to hear when you're trying to keep the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc at bay as they make a move into the pit lane. Down at Red Bull is Max Verstappen coming in. Yes, he.
There you go. So we've gone from 29:20 to 29:37. 17 seconds when you remain on track. Okay, how long does a pit stop take? Well, it should be pretty similar. Should be around about the 39-40 seconds still. Meaning that to remain ahead, then we know that to stay out on track takes 17 seconds. You've got to be 17 seconds ahead in order to get into the pits and out. No, have I got that right? I don't know. Let me actually let's do this calculation first. Let's go back and see how long this pit stop takes for Max Verstappen. I just want to get this right in my head before giving you any misinformation. This is not the channel for misinforming you.
At the moment. And I wonder if George Russell's struggling 2 down 18th at the moment. We keep losing gears. This might continue to happen.
Okay, so Verstappen is now going to branch off into that pit lane entrance. It's 29:26, and let's see when he emerges on track. 29:26.
Oh, that's not what you want to hear when you're trying to keep the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc at bay as they make a move into the pit lane. Down at Red Bull is Max Verstappen coming in. Yes, he is. Lap 14 of 58, and Max Verstappen about to make what should be his one and only pit stop of this race. The hard tyre goes on, and he'll come out, hopefully for Red Bull, if they've got their strategy right, ahead of Carlos Sainz. Perez slips through into second place, but the Ferrari making its way down into turn 1. He's not going to come out ahead of Carlos Sainz. Where is Max Verstappen going to come out onto this track? He goes underneath it now.
So he went in at 29:26. It's come out at 30:06. 40 seconds. Okay, that could be a delay in terms of the time spent in the pit box. In the example given in the last video, it was around about 39 seconds, wasn't it? This time it's 40 seconds. So ballpark figure, from the point you enter the pit lane to the point you get back on track, 40 seconds elapse. If you remain on track at racing speed, you cover from pit entrance to pit exit in about 17 seconds. So effectively, you've lost around about 23 seconds. Okay? You have taken 40 seconds to get from that point, from entrance to exit, having changed your tyres. The guy that you're up against, well, he's covered that distance in 17 seconds, so you've lost 23 seconds to him. All right? So essentially, you need to be 23 seconds ahead of people in order to re-emerge on track ahead of them. Now, let's see how good the Red Bull strategists were as to whether you're going to pit them. Because again, Sky Sports, they're educating you. They're going to tell you, oh, if Red Bull have got this right, hopefully, he'll get on track, back out on track ahead of Sainz. Well, knowing that you're going to lose 23 seconds, there or thereabouts, let's see if the decision is right. Let's go back here firstly, because we need to get to the point where the decision's going to be made. It's in the pits. Verstappen's just about to go in the pits. Let's have a look at data view. Is Verstappen 23 seconds ahead of these people? Let's have a look. So, Verstappen, gap to Perez is 3.1. Gap to Sainz, 13.5. You add them together, 16.6. You ain't getting out ahead of Sainz, are you? Gap to Norris, 3.5. Gap to Leclerc, another 0.8. So you've got, right, that's 16.6. Add 3 is 19.6. 20.1. What's that? 22 seconds. Tsunoda's 23.5 seconds. It's likely you're going to come out behind Norris and Leclerc. We've just seen that that's the case. If you lose 23 seconds, who is within 23 seconds of you? Because if they remain on track, they're going to go through. So you go through this again, 16 well, that's 16.7, 19.7, 20.3, 21.1, 22. Yeah, it's touch and go. So let's see again how that played out. Who actually did get through? We'll go back to have a look on who gets through.
That's not what you want to hear when you're trying to keep the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc at bay as they make a move into the pit lane. Down at Red Bull is Max Verstappen coming in. Yes, he is. Lap 14 of 58, and Max Verstappen about to make what should be his one and only pit stop of this race. The hard tyre goes on.
Great prediction there. Great prediction there.
And he'll come out, hopefully, for Red Bull, if they've got their strategy right, ahead of Carlos Sainz. Perez slips through.
They played some clever cards.
To second place, but the Ferrari making its way down into turn one. He's not going to come out ahead of Carlos Sainz. Where is Max Verstappen going to come out onto this track? He goes underneath it now. He's trying to put the power on, and onto the track he goes now.
And Leclerc jumps out of the way because it's not his race. There's your data view. Okay, that's how you work out where you're going to come out in a race. That's where this margin comes in. Now, okay, he might have saved a second if the actual time spent in the pit box would have caused him a delay. But that is the general principle that you need to be looking at. So we're now in a situation where Lewis Hamilton started the race on medium compound tyres, okay, which you would expect. When we consider tyre compounds, you've got soft compound tyres, which are the fastest compound of tyre, enabling you to set the fastest lap time, but have the least durability. So they'll wear out, say, within 10 to 12 laps approximately. You then have the medium compound tyre, which is the mid-paced tyre, okay? Not the fastest, not the slowest, the middle one. Just think of Goldilocks, everybody. The mummy's tyre, okay? Again, not the fastest, not the slowest, but also more durable than the soft compound tyre, but not as durable as the hard compound tyre. And lastly, we've got the hard compound tyre, which essentially should be the slowest because it's not the grippiest, it's the one with the least grip, but the most durable, allowing you to do the most amount of laps. So with that being the case, Max Verstappen started this race on soft compound tyres. His tyres, those soft compound tyres, have worn out after, 12 laps, is it? Is it 12 laps? Let's go back to data view. So, it's worn out after, 12 laps. Lewis Hamilton's on his 13th lap on their medium compound tyres. Plenty of life left in the medium compound tyres, one would suggest. Okay, so Lewis Hamilton, he's now having pitted. How far is Hamilton ahead of Verstappen, well, we've got 9.9. Let's call that 10. 13.5. So let's call that 23.5. Let's call that 3.5. So let's call that 27 seconds. Let's call that one 27 seconds. We'll call it that. 28 seconds maybe, because Verstappen's a second behind Norris. So Hamilton, 28 seconds ahead of Verstappen now on the medium compound tyres. What lap time is everybody doing? Okay, because the last lap, Max Verstappen was a 1:31 again because he went into the pits and had to slow down, pit speed limiter and all that by the time he'd crossed the timing line. So that would have given him that sort of time, whereas Hamilton did a 1:28.25. Verstappen's now changed onto the hard compound tyre. You can see he's gone onto this white compound of tyre, hard compound of tyre. Means that we're not expecting him to be setting the world alight with fastest lap times just yet. Maybe they've got to warm up a little bit. Maybe the lap times that Lewis Hamilton can continue to do on those medium compound tyres are still quick enough to keep going on those mediums. Surely, you started the race on those mediums to give you an advantage. Well, you didn't start the race on that to give you the best grip off the line, did you? You started the race for durability, to outlast him, go longer. So let's see what Mercedes do.
Ferrari only just as Charles Leclerc goes off, and maybe a bit distracted by Verstappen coming onto the track. Leclerc going very, very wide, losing a place to Tsunoda, locking up going into turn 5. He didn't get past the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, did Max Verstappen, but with Charles Leclerc going wide like that, he could.
Oh, Lando rolls out the red carpet. Max isn't his race. But we're still, 20, you add these times together, he's still significantly behind. 26 just in the full seconds. You add them together, 27 seconds behind. Hamilton still. Last lap, 1:28.25. Unfortunately, what we're going to get is
Could stay ahead of that Ferrari and easily passes Lando Norris now to move himself back up into 4th. Meanwhile, Yuki Tsunoda and Charles Leclerc having their particular battle. Tsunoda staying ahead, but only just.
So the pit exit here, the rear pit exit underneath.
Okay, so box.
Okay, Lewis, so box. Considering he did a 1:28.25, okay, we're not going to see what he did. But let's see what kind of lap speed that Max Verstappen manages to do on his new fresh compound tyres. 1:28.25. Remember that.
I was talking about they can just react and copy whatever Red Bull do as Leclerc comes back.
Remember, you need 23 seconds. Hamilton had 27 seconds. It was all fairly comfortable.
Underneath, Yuki Tsunoda, but the pit exit feeds straight into the outside of turn 3, and that is the problem there.
So Sergio Perez will stay out and will go on to take the lead of this race. Neat stop by the Mercedes crew. 2.4 seconds stationary time for Lewis Hamilton. Has to trundle down the pit lane at 80 kilometres an hour. Now he can get the power on, but not too much power because that tunnel is very, very tight indeed.
Right. 1:28.25. Max Verstappen's just done a 1:47 because that includes his time spent in the pits. Okay, but he's on these hard tyres. So let's see what he does on the next lap.
Disappears out of our view temporarily and will come onto a racetrack in the wide open spaces.
This is going to take about a minute and a half, everybody.
Of this racetrack is to be ahead of Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. Verstappen's made his pit stop, he's 4th. Hamilton's made his pit stop, he's 2nd. And if you're a Sky Q or a Sky Glass customer and you're just joining us this afternoon, well, if you press your red button, you can watch the highlights alongside the live action. And this is Charles Leclerc as Max Verstappen comes out of the pits. Yeah. Was he distracted? Was it something to do with the car?
He got a swapper on. Look at that. He turned into 3. And had to counter steer into a massive slide. Remember, he's got some overheated soft compound tyres on there as well, and it was quite the same for Leclerc there. But yeah, maybe he was a bit urgent as well, trying to get past, hoping to get past the Red Bull exit.
No, Martin, that wasn't his race. But look at everybody else that started the race on the yellow medium compound tyre. Just like Lewis, they've all changed onto hards as well, haven't they? No, they kept going till lap 20, most of them. What were you doing, Mercedes? What were you doing? Shafting Lewis Hamilton once again.
In the pit lane, but I don't know, I kind of feel game back on now, to me.
What?
Game back on now, says Brundle. What do you know, Brundle?
Okay, Hamilton's pitted. Plan A. Question. Plan B. Plan B.
Yes, plan A might have been to come into the
1:28.25, remember, was what Hamilton was lapping at on those medium compound tyres, and there was plenty of life left in them.
pits. Plan B is to stay out there, and maybe Sergio Perez now can help Max Verstappen if Hamilton catches him by not going.
Oh, maybe Perez can help Max Verstappen, because Mercedes have pitted Hamilton and made him come back out on track behind Perez. Even though Perez was on the soft compound tyre and would have had to pit pretty soon, and Hamilton was on the medium compound tyre and could have outlasted him, could have waited to pit until Perez had pitted to make sure that Perez was not going to be a snagging point. Oh, Mercedes, you didn't do that, did you? Clever cards from Mercedes. Is this you, Bono? Are you in on it as well? Are you in on fixing it so that Hamilton gets shafted? I wonder. Clever lad you are, aren't you, Bono? That everybody thinks is, oh yeah, Lewis and Bono. He really likes Lewis, he does. No, you're shit.
Quite as fast as Hamilton and just try and slow up the momentum for Lewis Hamilton. And as it stands at the moment, that momentum is gaining and gaining and gaining with every lap.
So, Max Verstappen's first lap on the hard compound tyres, the first full lap, 1:28.49. Hamilton was doing 1:28.25s. So Hamilton was faster on the mediums than Verstappen's been able to set there on his hards. There was no desperation to pit, was there? There was no desperation. The performance on those medium tyres was not dropping off. Mercedes didn't have to pit. They pitted him, right? Because what did we do? Oh, Max has pitted on his to get rid of his softs. Oh, we've got mediums. We can keep going for another 10 laps. Oh, no, we're going to get him on the same compound of tyre, throwing away that advantage that we had by starting on a more durable tyre, being able to go longer. Oh, we're not going to go longer. Oh, we're going to throw him out there behind Perez to give Perez the chance of backing Hamilton up. Oh, you couldn't make it up, could you? You couldn't make it up, could you? The beautiful Mercedes strategy call. And it had us all fooled, didn't it? It had us all fooled. For how long? Well, it had a lot of people fooled. I mean, I didn't go into depth about the Mercedes strategy or just how deep they were in on this. Okay? I assumed that they'd got integrity. I assumed that they were actually the victim in all of this. I assumed, because that's what they played themselves as being. That's the part that they played. What a contrivance. What a contrivance. Thank you for your time.